First of all, congratulations to the class of 2023. I'm so excited for you all. You've met a milestone goal that you've worked hard to achieve, so enjoy the moment. But as I have learned, life is not about the end goal, it's about the journey. So let me share a little bit about my journey in hopes that it will inspire you. My journey to what I've become began with my dad, who was a designer. He started his career working for Raymond Loewy, a renowned industrial designer whose work included the redesign of the Coca-Cola bottle, the Lucky Strike cigarette package, and the Studebaker car. Later, my dad started his own design firm. His design thinking was ahead of its time, so much so that Andy Warhol made a movie in our house as one of the locations for his film. My dad taught me how to see things beyond what they appeared to be. From 3 years old on, I was trained to be a keen observer of everything, making abstract associations, connecting the dots for potential applications. So for example, he would say, Ivy, look up at that light fixture. Notice the way it's connected to the bracket. What else could be connected that way? And so he taught me to observe everything and take those observations and think about how they can be applied to other things. So when it came time to apply to college, I told my dad that I wanted to be a designer just like him. And he said, oh, Ivy, marry someone rich and be a school teacher and have your summers off. I remember thinking, how dare you rob me of my dreams? But instead of discouraging me, he actually fueled my passion even more. So thank you, Dad, for the unintended push you gave me. I later learned that what he told me came from a place of deep love, as he actually didn't want me to have to live the hard life that he did. So if you have a passion for putting your unique gifts into the world, each of us is here to live only the life that is unique to us. So pay attention to what gets your attention and don't look away. Go deeper into who you are and what you care about. No matter what challenges you face along the way, you won't regret it. After college, I became a maker. My medium was metal, perhaps because when I was 5, my dad took me to car shows where I was eye level with all the hubcaps, which mesmerized me. By the time I was 27, my metalwork had been acquired by 12 museums around the world, the result of countless hours in my studio inventing new ways to work with metals such as niobium and turn them into jewelry. I loved being an artist and a craftsman, but there is no substitute for having an idea and working with your hands to manifest it. But I actually had more ideas than I had fingers, and it was lonely being in the studio by myself. I longed to collaborate with others, and so I began the next step in my journey, a corporate career running creative departments, and at times marketing departments, applying people's gifts and talents in service of creating a common vision across many different sectors, as you heard, including fashion, toys, and now technology. So much of what I have learned on my journey is culminated in Your Brain on Art, a recently published book that I co-authored with Susan Mag-Salmon, the founder and director of the Arts and Mind Lab at Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine. In the book, we show how science is proving what I and many other artists and creatives have known intuitively, that arts and aesthetic experiences are critical to our health and well-being. Susan and I wrote the book with a sense of urgency so that people understand neuroaesthetics, which is a new scientific field made possible by the technological breakthroughs that have enabled us to get inside our heads and study the extraordinary ways that arts and aesthetics measurably change our body, brain, and behavior. You know, I think we've been optimizing for productivity since the Industrial Revolution and have pushed the arts aside, making them unimportant or a luxury, thinking that the focus on productivity and efficiency almost exclusively would make us happy, but we're not. We believe it is essential to come back to our senses, the things that we know alive in us. In researching our book, we interviewed over 100 people, including E.O. Wilson, a Harvard evolutionary biologist, about the importance of creative expression in human evolution. He shared that art making was essential to our development as a species. Biologically, we learn to make art by connecting to our senses using sight, sound, touch, taste, to create visual art, tell stories, dance, and sing, and so much more. The ancients didn't even have a word for art, as it was their culture, the way they lived their lives. The ancients knew what Jill Bolte Taylor, a neuroanatomist, is telling us in her quote, "Most of us think of ourselves as thinking creatures that feel, but we're actually feeling creatures that think." We now know that we experience over 34,000 different feelings. So the arts offer a complex neurological network of interconnected processes, including high-order cognition such as executive function, rewards, creativity, and affect our biological systems, including our immune system, circulatory, and respiratory. When you're making a memory or learning something new, you're actually making some synapse connections stronger and some weaker, just by the saliency of your experience. In this way, you're sculpting a new pathway that was not there before. Encoding a new memory. Researchers are discovering that through highly salient experiences like the arts and aesthetics, the quadrillions of new synapses that form in your brain to create a repository of stored knowledge are as unique as your fingerprint. No one else, not a single person, has your unique brain. Your entire body, not just your brain, takes in the outside world, and yet much of it sits outside your awareness. In terms of mental storage capacity, we have the equivalent of 2.5 million gigabytes of digital memory, outperforming your cell or desktop computer. But we're only conscious of about 5% of our mental activity. The rest of your experience, physically, emotionally, sensorially, lies below what you're actually thinking. So when you get an intuitive hit, it's coming from that other 95% that's actually full of data. So do not ignore your intuition. This is an exciting time where science and the arts are coming together, showing us that we are in fact wired for art. It is the marriage of the two that will enable us to take on the challenge of our times. There is a new paradigm emerging where the arts are being used to humanize medicine, education, and business. And you don't have to be proficient at an art to reap the benefit. Just the act of doing an art activity or beholding one is enough. Doing an art activity is actually the highest form of meditation. In some ways, we've been training ourselves to be like machines with our focus on productivity and efficiency, and now AI will be taking some of the rational tasks off of our plate. So we must get out of our heads and into our bodies and feel our way into the future that wants to emerge, and then use all of our tools, including technology, to get us there. I find these times exciting as many, if not all, of our systems are breaking down, which means there is an opportunity for new solutions to arrive. Out of chaos comes creativity. We all need to develop more holistic perspectives and skills that embrace the marriage of art and science, data and intuition, feeling our way into the future. Tomorrow and every day after that, my hope for you is that you choose connecting versus detaching, immersing versus managing, being sense-driven versus only data-driven, smell, taste, touch, watch, wander, listen, and stay curious. Then create. Never stop creating, and never stop playing, as the opposite of play is not work, it's depression. You know, the definition of playing is doing something different than you do every day, but without a preconceived outcome. The minute you stop creating and shut off that most innate part of what it means to be a human is the day you disconnect from your own humanity and begin a slow death toward mediocrity. Now, that's not what the world needs, and that's surely not why you decided to go to grad school, is it? Humans are feeling beings first. We come into this world as creative beings until the day someone tells us we aren't, usually by third grade. Art is the only true global language we have. So be willing to play with art in any form that moves you. Feed your brain, body, and soul with art. Even a little bit each day can make a massive difference, so you can continue to adapt, lead, and thrive. Protect, nurture, and honor that creative part of you and those around you in whatever you feel most inspired to explore. Embrace that we are all creatives, more than anything, as you feel your way forward into the next chapter of your life. Choose love over fear. Always. Thank you.